What's going on there, guys? My name is Pone, kind of doing a podcast trial run. If you guys like this thing, when it's all said and done, be sure to smack that like button, show it some love. Let me know down in the comment sections down below. There'll be different guests, different people rotating in and out, but it's kind of a core group of people, which I consider the next generation of Battlefield entertainers for you guys. So their links will be down in the description below, but also feel free to leave comments and suggestions for the next episode if we do have them, and we'll talk about, whatever seems to be fancy for the time. Have a great day, guys. Stay moist. All right, so anyways, we're kind of gathered here today for kind of a podcast. By the way, it's starting. We're kind of gathered here today for like a podcast kind of thing to discuss FPS as a whole. And, Battlefield and other things, and use them as examples, seeing as how that's the game that we know. So, the idea today is to get these guys together. So, go ahead, just introduce yourselves one at a time. Just...
Hi.
Well,
my name is not Croatian.
Okay. Next.
my name is Sign Off.
My name is Crunch.
My name is Saltos.
This is weird. What is this? This is like confession or something. You guys like, my name is Sign
You guys
Off.
want to loosen up a bit?
Yeah, this is kind of weird. It's like, is this like school? Are we just reading off the fucking thing? Present.
Well,
Anyways.
maybe you wrote a script for us and like.
Oh, yeah. That's how it is.
Absent.
So, anyways, the idea is I have a feeling that FPS is dying. Do any of you guys agree to that?
Yes,
definitely.
I've heard.
I've heard.
Ideas.
I've heard.
I got pictures. What? Okay, so why do you think FPS is dying? Just start off, Cry. Go ahead since you were the first one.
Okay.
And
Pun,
act like you
as
wanted to be
killed
here.
me. I don't feel like FPS is dying as much as some other genres have, but FPS is definitely dying. One, because the big mother load, what some may disagree with me, is COD. And COD is not the best as of right now.
It's not doing great.
What's COD?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the greatest right now.
And it brought a lot of people to the FPS genre, and when that kind of died, and I will say COD is pretty much dead for now, but when that died, it took a lot of people, and Battlefield, releasing kind of not the perfect game. So yeah.
I like him trying to be nice. As soon as the recording stops, he's like, the shittiest game ever. But, yeah, I get that. I get that. So anyone else agree? I mean, do you think like FPS is dying as a whole, or do you think
The longevity of it. I mean, like, I get bored so quickly whenever I play it. Like, compared to when I first started playing FPS as a whole, like, I was straight up addicted to it because of how fun and fast-paced it was, and just something different from playing PlayStation 2 to actually playing with a bunch of people online.
It changed things.
PlayStation 2 had online, just
Yeah,
telling
they did.
you.
Yeah.
So,
And
what you're saying is that you feel like you're not attached to it like it used to be, and I feel the same way. I mean, years ago I used to play for I'd forget time. I'd be like, oh, it's probably like 11 p.m., 4 a.m. That's what used to happen when I played games. I'd have fun, I'd lose myself in them, and it'd be entertaining. You'd play with friends, you'd shit talk, you'd do Xbox Live. Back when gaming was really, really solid, when an FPS was taking up all of our lives, we were spending our summers in between schools playing video games all the time, sports, everything like that. But it was a big part of our lives. So yeah, I guess that's a part I didn't even think of, is how much I don't like. I get bored. I don't know, even upset at games now. I never used to get like pissed off at games. I'd get pissed off when I played like shit, but not like the games themselves. But that's kind of more of a plague nowadays. I got a question actually to ask, just to see where curiosity sits. And we'll just do this through this. What's your favorite Battlefield title?
I have an answer.
BF3. I mean, that's the only one I've played.
Battlefield 3, yeah, that is my favorite, but I would have to say Bad Company 2.
Yeah.
Amen.
Amen.
That is
Amen.
I had the most fun I ever had, like, playing FPS with that game.
Yeah, that is.
Okay.
I can't remember anything else.
I get that. All right, now another question for those that have actually played it, which I assume most have, even though most Battlefielders won't actually admit to doing it. What was your favorite Call of Duty title?
mine was
Warfare 2.
Modern Warfare 3.
Modern Warfare 2. Whoa, Modern Warfare 3. Whoa, hold on. What?
Yes, I can explain myself.
What?
I had so much.
Somebody kick him from the TeamSpeak. So
No, I want to explain myself why Modern Warfare 3
go for it.
was the worst but best COD ever. One, it was so broken. It was fun using the broken stuff in the game. So,
Wait, what?
Stuff like the P90,
I don't understand.
the overuse of perks. It just... Pawn, why do you keep killing me, man?
Because you like MW3. I mean, why do I have to defend myself?
To me, it was like my first COD ever starting off, and I loved it.
Really?
So it was
your first
the
COD?
feeling, it was the first experience kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
The reason I mentioned this, and it goes to exactly what you just said. You understand that all of you guys, you know, as soon as somebody mentioned BC2, everybody was like, yeah. People will go MW2 or COD 4 are generally the favorites.
Yes.
And the reason I'm pointing at is this is why FPS needs to change. It needs to evolve. And you know that because when you say, hey, what was your favorite title in this franchise or something, it's almost always an older title.
Yeah.
It's never going to be a recent title. It's
No.
never going to be something that was released in the last year or two. And it's not because the games are bad. You just don't have the same experience with them that you did back then. So how do you make the game work now? How do you make things change? And no, you can. But how? And that's what they're
Well,
trying to find.
I mean,
I actually have
think...
a theory
yeah, you go.
behind not necessarily that, but a lot of people say, "Oh, what was your favorite game in this series?" Most of the time, it will be the first one they ever played because
Exactly.
they kind of when you play a game for the first time, you kind of get attached to the way the game works and how like its unique aspects.
Know
to
by
it.
heart.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
for me, Bad Company 2, that was my first Battlefield game, and the Destruction immediately, like, I got attached to that, and that's what I kind of took the Battlefield series as, to have a unique thing into it.
Yeah.
I get that. I get that entirely. Now that's where a lot of the things is the history and the feelings you get with it. And after you play something and do things for enough or over time, over and over and over again, you're just not gonna have that same feeling towards it. And honestly, like I like the recent Battlefield titles. I like what some of them have done, but to be honest, it's just not the same game anymore. I find myself not wanting to play it more than an hour or two at a time, unless it's for YouTube, unless I have a purpose for doing that. So
Yeah.
with that example, the reason why I wanted to do that is because I was almost certain that everyone was going to say an older game. My favorite gaming days were back in Halo 2. That's when gaming was the best for me. That when I played that Unreal Tournament, and that was a long ass time ago. That was 10, 15 years ago when I started gaming. And those games are the ones that have lingered with me. But it was also because they were different. They stood out, and that made them special. So how do they do that? And I think the only way for FPS to get better or for fans to come over here is if they evolve. And I
Change
think
into something new.
yeah, I think Titanfall had an idea with that,
Yeah.
where they started bringing in mobile elements, farming, killing AI, stuff like that. So they started doing something different. They absolutely realized the importance of having to evolve and adapt to new things, because that's the only way for us to get anything new.
Right.
So where I stand right now is I have one theory that could save FPS. It would change FPS as we know it, but it would do it. And the catch is a game like Destiny. If you guys do not know what Destiny is or are not sure what it's going to be, I like the concept of it. And games are now, the more popular one, even competitive-wise, you're looking at like League of Legends and StarCraft. Those are, excuse you, the large ones. No, those are like the popular things. You know, people are like, you remember when competitive in MLG was all about COD and Halo, and now it's about MOBAs and League of Legends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's completely lost its popularity. And I think for it to evolve, you need to have something else in there. And my idea, my concept, is to add multiplayer, massively multiplayer options to it. And very similar to how a few of these games are running now. You have games like, what is it? PlanetSide has kind of an idea of it. Just sadly, it just doesn't have an end game, but it's also not so much about farming. Whereas something like Destiny, imagine taking something like Fallout, but making it massive multiplayer, where you have loot, where you have to take actions and aspects from games like Diablo, you know, and stuff like that, where you have to level your character up, level your gear, level your stuff, find things, loot, roll your items, do stuff like that. If they were able to take those elements and put those in there. So it's not like every game is one thing. It's never ending like PlanetSide. And PlanetSide did a pretty good attempt at it. but I think there's so much more, and I think a game like Destiny is definitely going to be the one that's going to be changing how we look at FPS. It's going to make it more of a long-term thing where you invest a lot of time and your effort into playing, and you can play it with any sort of different types of gear, but I think you're going to need things like that to change the game. What do you think is necessary to get the thing going? What do you think is necessary to get FPS back on track and get the popularity back for it?
Redo the whole concept of it, like you were talking about. Like, instead of having the same copy and paste thing, try to incorporate new things to sort of refresh the feeling, and
but
not
we saw
that you're
that
playing the same game.
Yeah, but that's the thing. The problem with that is that that's what devs have been trying to do for the past years.
It's clear it's not happening.
Found a way to implement it.
And I think they know that pressure too.
Polls of like where the fans vote on what they want to see, but then again, you can't really.
Well, it's kind of hard to switch what your franchise was built around. You can't change it too much or it's going to fail. The perfect example was Modern Warfare 3. So, MW3, they were known. Infinity Ward was known for innovating the COD franchise. They did great things. COD 4, Modern Warfare 2, they brought in those kill streaks, the nuke. They changed the way the game was played. But there's only so much you can do to edit the canvas that is Call of Duty or Battlefield. It's not like, you know, they added in decent game types with obliteration and carrier assault. Great ideas. They've added in decent customization. Okay. But as they keep trying to add more and more, as they keep trying to innovate, they're also going to be adding in more problems, more flaws, or not having enough time to finish their game properly, like Battlefield 4. They were so worried about these things. So now they have DMRs that are annoying as hell. And it's because things are so repetitive, little things bother us now. So DMRs, semi-auto shotguns, things that really do not deserve to be in a game, they're in a game. Just because they think more is better.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, the customization of weapons. Like, okay, so for Battlefield 4, right, you know how there's, like, camos and, like, there's, like, a lot of camos. Like, camo sights and all that stuff. But back, let's say, for, well, yeah, Battlefield 3, I guess you can say, but Battlefield Bad Company 2, there was, like, what, 2 sights?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, there was 2 sights and 1 set of camo, you know? Like, and that you have to get, I think, what, 10 silver stars or something like that in order to get the camo? And
yeah,
then,
it took a while.
Yeah, it took a while, but, like, it was so simple, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was a very, very simple game, but yet it was a very good one. And
Brilliant.
I think that's what it is. I think, for me, honestly, that's...
Simple is better.
Yes, simple is better, yes. They don't need to add all this crap that's not needed. All they need to do is, you know, add some little bit of stuff, yeah, you know, little new things here and there, and then focus on the game, and then you'll have a great game. That's what I think.
Yeah.
What about considering maybe like World War II games to bring back? Or something like, maybe not necessarily World War II, but like think about all of the battles in history that developers have never even touched on. Like
that's true.
War.
That's
true. I
true.
don't even think anybody knows what the Korean War is.
That's true.
Myself, I don't even know.
But we're getting another one this year, though, right?
But yeah,
supposedly.
What do you think about that police Battlefield game? That
oh God. I mean,
it's kind of a stupid idea.
Yeah, because you know what I think? It'll be worth doing it, I think, as a DLC. Because stuff like that, you know, themed, you know, stuff like that, like, you know, to one specific thing, like World War II, like Saltos was saying, like a World War II, I would like to see that in a DLC. I wouldn't like to see that in a game itself where I have to pay $60, because then I'm going to get bored of it really, really quickly. You know what I'm saying? Like Battlefield, what was it?
Vietnam.
1940, no, 1940, what, 3? Was it?
Yeah.
1942, I think.
1942, there we go. Alright, so for that one, you know, I did enjoy it for quite some time, but I didn't always go back to it. I went to, you know, Bad Company 2 or like Battlefield 3 or something like that. So, you know, that game, I think it would have been good as a DLC. I'm just saying, like, what do you guys think about that? Would you see it as a DLC?
I don't think, even if I could see it as a DLC, I think they have the name Police just there. I think ignore the name Police. Yeah, just ignore the name Police. Stop thinking that it needs to be SWAT or anything like that. And think of it as a new game very similar to COD. I think that's their gamble. I think what they're doing is they're basically making another Medal of Honor, but they're going to name it Battlefield Police. Okay. That's what I think that entire thing is for, because them getting rid of Medal of Honor, I think, was a mistake. Now, Medal of Honor doesn't have the backing that Battlefield does, but as soon as you wrap a Medal of Honor with a Battlefield title, your sales are going to go up, and the popularity is going to go up.
Yeah.
So, I think that's honestly what the whole purpose of that was for. And I think it needs to continue. I mean, I enjoyed, truth is, and I'll say this in front of everybody, I enjoyed Medal of Honor Warfighter more than I did Battlefield 3 or 4, and more than I did any recent Call of Duty. And it's because it combined the elements. I love the customization and the visuals of Battlefield, but I like how COD plays. I'm not saying I like how COD plays better than Battlefield, but I like how it plays. There's something about just casually getting up, playing, and running around without having to think. It's not worrying about jets killing you or massive objectives. You could just play and do shit. And that's what makes COD so appealing, is there's no real stress behind it. And I'm not saying that PTFO is still a thing in Battlefield, because it's not, as much as us would like to say that we really care. I've not seen PTFO since ever. It doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, we got all these stunts channels.
Right? Where's the PTFO?
Yeah. And we got Easter eggs everywhere. I'm not saying these stunts and Easter eggs aren't awesome, but we need a way to promote PTFOing as a whole.
I don't think there's a way to make it mainstream. That was like a couple years ago. I think that's lost, and it becomes with more and more people playing.
I remember like when DICE made fun of like games with grenade spam in Bad Company 2, and like Battlefield 4, that is all what Battlefield 4 is grenade spam.
Yeah, to fix that, they could just have the commander airdrop just resupply grenades.
Oh my god.
I don't know.
Yeah, so
I just don't think there's a future for Battlefield, but what I think they can do is balance this type of Battlefield, keep it going, still make money because that's business, but then they're going to implement a game like Medal of Honor, like Call of Duty, to bring in and keep the franchise fresh. That's my prediction.
The thing about like Battlefield and COD is that people know the name. It's all about branding. It's all about branding. So when you release something under a new brand, such as Titanfall, people don't know what that is.
Nope.
People
they're not going to try anything new.
They're not going to try anything new. They're just going to say, I'm just going to wait for the next COD. I'm going to wait for the next iPhone.
Like, when you hear Call of Duty, you're just like, oh god.
Yeah, so like I'm not expecting the next COD to be great, but you know, I kind of have hope that someone will learn something at Treyarch or whoever's making the next COD game.
I completely gave up on that series.
Yeah,
I like COD, and I'm not gonna lie. And it's like I said, it's just something different. You less thinking, you just play.
Yeah,
and, you know, there's always going to be a need for that. There's always going to be a need for that because some people play game to burn stress or just fucking play games and shoot things. Not everybody needs to have an objective to go plant. Sometimes it's just about fucking shooting things.
Yeah.
So, truth is, I think that's honestly how things are going to go. I think that it's important and it's essential that we all know and understand it. But I don't see COD evolving. I don't see Battlefield evolving. Battlefield, I think, is taking the only possibility that they could do is if this police thing does become a reality. They do take a game like COD, but they optimize it in their way, put it on the Frostbite, and make that thing look fucking great. And then just completely take that over. We know they've been after their crowd and everything like that for a while, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Hopefully it goes well.
I'd like to see them take over COD eventually, but I don't think it's going to happen for at least a couple more years.
Yeah, I don't know about that so much. Yeah.
COD still has that strong fan base.
But does EA really like need to take over COD? Can't we just like have some variety?
Because I honestly think they could do it better.
I think we need more game developers like us. We see that Respawn just came in. They're probably not going to release the game until a few years, but I think we need more compensation. We have two big names.
I enjoy a lot of free-to-plays now more than I do the AAA titles. And it seems like it seems like they put more work and thought into it because they need to prove themselves. I enjoy free-to-plays now more than the standard traditional $60 games.
Let's make the next Battlefield.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Battlefield's free to play.
Well, that's
already a thing. Too late. And it sucks too.
Google Chrome.
So I've heard.
I don't know.
I just think that we should keep going as in the way we're going, but we need some changes. Very big ones.
That's why I voted Obama.
That's
no.
I don't know. I mean, I love FPS. It's my favorite thing. But I also play games like Diablo or MMOs or something on the side. I don't post it on YouTube, but I do it. And at the same time, you know, I play COD every once in a while. I don't post it, but I do it because sometimes it just feels cool to play that. Now, I honestly think that FPS they need a major change, and it's kind of sad actually because I think it's dying and it's my favorite genre.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've been going the route of DayZ recently.
Yeah,
people are doing
DayZ. I've been playing with Salto, Zainov,
and those are massive multiplayer. That's what I'm saying. I think things are adapting.
Much fun. I don't know what about it, just like it's, and for me it's something new because I don't usually play that kind of stuff, and it's like to go something different. When you go with something different, you're just like, oh, let me try it, and I just loved it, and it was amazing.
Yeah. Well, here's the impressive thing about DayZ. Guess how many devs they have making that game?
A lot.
3.
19.
3.
They literally have 19 developers in a little cubicle office in Czech Republic.
Yeah,
and they're making a game that's only an alpha stage that has over 1 million purchases.
Yeah, that's insane.
And for an alpha game, it's really stable.
It's got a lot. It's got a lot of potential, but that's exactly what I'm saying. For them to evolve, they also can adapt. They can take the aspects of other games that people like now and make them work for them. And that's what I think's happening.
It
can get kind of slow.
So DayZ, there's no other game
that
really
and frustrating too if you die
when it comes to survival games.
Yeah.
When you think about that, let's think. There's simulator games out there, or simulators, but there's really no game that's like survival game, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean,
DayZ,
some arcade games
it's amazing because DayZ, the idea came upon as just a mod, and now it's a huge game, and it's basically evolved into a huge thing in the game industry, I guess.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying I think Destiny is going to be changing things. Now, if you don't, any of you guys know anything about Destiny?
Like, I seen gameplay at E3 and whatnot, but I haven't, like, you could fill me in, because I really don't know too much
Destiny
about it.
is like taking, imagine like a massive Fallout meets Borderlands meets whatever. It's actually going to be pretty incredible. I think it's going to be the game that changes everything. It just doesn't have the hype that other games. Now, if Destiny had the hype that Titanfall does, and it's got its backing, but what it is it's basically shooters, but you level up just like you would in something like Fallout or something like that. You level up your character, your guns, your weapons. You can have certain weapons and do that, but it also has loot that drops, special weapons, special items, gear, and everything like that from something you would experience out of Diablo. Some of them are special, some of them are common, some are uncommon, some are legendary type. So that are very, very hard to find. So, but you get those things. You play and you grind out to try to get better gear. That extends the life of that game. On top of that, it's massive multiplayer. You can do quests together and fight enemies and do stuff like that. You can also do multiplayer and fight each other. And imagine taking aspects of DayZ, where it's a large map and you guys can run into people at any time. So it's like taking Borderlands or Fallout, adding really unique weapons, the fact that you can not only find a special loot, but you can also level that individual loot up, level your character up, and everything, and make those weapons even better than before you found them. So it's like looting for things, finding items, killing people, farming, leveling up. It's taking all the aspects of, like, RPGs and throwing them in and merging that with FPS.
Right.
One giant clusterfuck.
So it's one way I think they could do that pretty well.
Like, I find like for DayZ, I think really why it's became such a good game is because it's basically driven by the community. Like, if you go on DayZ Reddit, there's people making sounds for the game that are just sitting at their home, just playing around and fiddling with the game files and stuff.
Yeah, because they're so inspired by the game itself.
Yes, they have backing. They're doing it right, and the games like DayZ listen because that's the community. They want to do what they got to do, and it matters. It matters. And usually that helps. I mean, unless your community's Battlefield and we ask for megalodons, and instead of fixing the game, we get a fucking shark. But sometimes you should listen, sometimes you shouldn't. And I think they do a good. I think they do a good job at doing that.
Listening. Yeah.
Yes, they definitely do. So
well, here's the thing. What are your guys' favorite developers? Because I know right off the bat mine is Bungie, because it just brought me into the FPS series overall.
Bungie, and the only other one that I have faith that can innovate is Respawn. And I think they had a good attempt. Titanfall was fun and fast to play. They changed like the verticality, even though the game wasn't groundbreaking. Playing that game and thinking and having to use the map to your advantage was pretty important. I thought that was a good move. So I think those are the only two that changed. But Bungie is hands down the best developer, best company that I can think of. Period.
They just have such a creative design and creative ideas that are insanely unique.
Yep, and then they're the ones doing Destiny too. They brought Halo, which in my opinion is probably the best modern franchise out there. That's just me though.
The only thing I'm worried about is, well, I'm kind of disappointed about is Destiny's not going to be on PC for another year after they said release of it. It's really unfortunate, honestly.
That's sad, but at the same time, you know, I mean, they didn't wait till the day of the DLC to drop to let you know. That's always promising. I don't know. I feel that way.
I feel like the developers should be in contact with the community itself. And like what we have saw lately with DICE, and this is a good example, is DICE hasn't been talking to the community pretty much.
No.
Every once in a while we get a patch and we're like, okay, they're fixing stuff, and then we see like 20 things broken that weren't even touched.
Yeah.
And like, and then we ask ourselves, okay, they got some things wrong. It's
let's
fine.
Forgive
I
them.
mean, like, well, yeah, let's forgive them. I think we're too like passionate about the game. We're like, oh, I love the Battlefield series so much. We don't give them enough smack. And
we need a good smacking.
And like, then we ask ourselves, trying not to get off subject, then we ask ourselves, are they even testing these patches? And then we see something like the kill cam broken.
Oh my god, that's so annoying.
Like, how do you do that? How do you fix one thing? It's like I get a cut on my toe and then put a band-aid on it, boom, broken leg. How does that even that's an entirely different part of the game. How does this shit happen?
It's like we don't set standards, and I think the standards for games have been diminishing. Because remember, like, I'm going to say 10 years ago, if a developer put out a broken game, you would get free DLC, free stuff. They might like.
Well, then that's EA's doing. That's EA's doing. There's no such thing as free with EA.
No,
just no.
But well, you would get like the developer will come out publicly and say we're very sorry, even if it was like a small glitch, something not even game breaking. They wanted it to be perfect, and the standards for video games have totally diminished over the last 10 years. And
now,
it's just
what do you guys think about Star Wars Battlefront? Because honestly,
I love that game. Oh my god.
Star Wars Battlefront. There hasn't been a good Star Wars game in like 7 years.
No, the thing about
be a very big revolutionary bringing back, cause, like, as long as they bring back the good old things, like that's almost like hopefully they're almost going to be doing what we've been talking about, how they basically redo a fan favorite game from the past.
Yeah, but the thing with Star Wars Battlefront is everyone is like worried that because of DICE is making it.
With Battlefield, yeah, they're worried that is going to be down and they don't have the proper resources to make that game launch like they should.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that too. We all have that fear. I mean, and that's a trust thing. How can you trust them to make another game after the release of Battlefield 4?
Yeah.
You know, that's one of those things. They went from being one of the most loved communities and loved developers, and everybody would defend DICE, and they still do. Even through their flaws, people still blindly defend them and are like, oh, it's not DICE's fault, it's EA's fault.
And then 6 months later, nothing's what it should be.
Yep.
I remember one of the devs saying that they needed another 6 months for this to be like finished, Battlefield 4 to be a finished product. And they even came out and said, okay, we're delaying DLC. And then when they heard from their stock investors that wasn't going well, they put out that DLC on time.
Yeah. Damn it.
So it's really just all about trust and hiring standards. And pre-ordering is a thing now.
I get
like
that.
To see what they do with Watch Dogs. That seems like an interesting game.
It doesn't seem like a game for me. I mean, it seems like it's changing things. It seems very interesting, but it doesn't seem like my type of game.
Seems like Assassin's Creed 4 to me.
It's just something new that I have never experienced.
Yeah, I never seen something like that, or like hacks and stuff like that, like with the city.
It's a new idea.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool.
I think that's what companies are afraid of, just branching out and just trying something new.
Yeah, they're trying to stay in the cliche line of games.
Just the mainstream.
Because when you release a new IP, it does not do as well as a known one, ever.
No, but it also needs to start somewhere. You know what I mean? It has to get out there somehow, some way.
They don't want to take that risk. It's like, should we develop a game that's amazing, but if it doesn't sell, they want the money. They need money. They're a business. So if they develop a new IP, doesn't do so well, that's wasted resources that they could have been doing to do an older IP, and make like 3 times as much.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying I think that's the only saving chance for something like Destiny, like, because Bungie. The same reason why they were okay with going with Titanfall, because Respawn was responsible for giving us Call of Duty. You know what I'm saying? So that's why that they have a little bit of backing. So it may be a new title, but it's still the same developers that we know. Yeah. So it's still got its survivability. It's still got its potential to grow because of the backing from those developers. So it's got a chance. But that's just how I feel. That's how I feel about it. But I don't know. It's just I have a feeling it's dying. I don't know where it's going. But I would love to see it. I would love to see it turn around in a different way. And I think the only way for it to evolve is to actually adopt different aspects of different games, like MMOs, and making it larger scale. PlanetSide had a good idea with it. So I think that's the route that they have to take.